Hey everybody, it's Informed and Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're back with another episode of Star Trek Discovery. Last time out,
we met Harry Mudd.
Oh, that's right, Harry Mudd. Yep.
I really
Harry
love
Mudd.
his character. I really do.
You were completely floored by the fact that he's actually a legacy character.
I didn't know. I seriously, well,
Yeah.
I've not seen that episode of the original series. Like my exposure to the original series is the first 3 episodes, one or two random ones from the end of it, and then the movies. And I adore the movies. I genuinely really love the movies. As much as everybody shits on it, I actually really love Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Search for Spock's not bad.
Unironically, I love Search for Spock.
Search for Spock is not bad.
It is the best of the odd movies.
I would agree with that.
In terms of the Trek curse, it is the strongest of the odd movies, but it still suffers from the odd movie curse.
True.
And honestly, what does it for me? Christopher Lloyd as a Vulcan, or as a
Klingon.
Yeah, that is
that's good.
fully what makes that movie for me. The rest of it is window dressing. I just need the 15 uninterrupted minutes of him just telling fuckers to feed his dog and murdering people who give him good information.
So you're saying where they were, they don't need any roads?
No, they don't. It's space.
Yeah, it kind of goes without saying.
And furthermore, they're looking for Genesis. That just makes plants. That doesn't build infrastructure.
I'd make a joke about not needing hyperspace lanes, but wrong franchise.
Well, not to disappoint you by going to Klingons that aren't Christopher Lloyd.
Klingons,
According to you, aren't Klingons. So
you beat me to it. But yeah, so we had that. They released the tardigrade because they found.
we picked up a new security specialist, and I'm very bad about this because I like his character. I think he's fun. I can't remember his name. It falls out of my brain literally every single time I hear it.
You're remembering more of the names than I am at this point, so I think my mic just cut out.
The Indian dude.
There we go.
That's what I got. And if he's not Indian, I apologize, but that's
Yeah.
my best guess.
The Spore Drive guy, whose name I don't remember.
Chief Stamets.
Chief Stance, yeah. He made the I guess you call it the Hail Mary play, and just injected himself with the thing.
Oh yeah.
And did the thing.
And nothing bad happened to Stamets. Absolutely nothing.
Didn't his mirror image stick around after he walked away? Isn't that what happened?
Because mirror universes aren't a thing in Star Trek. They definitely aren't a thing in Star Trek.
I mean, that's not. Although, is my mic going out again?
No, it's Nick's.
Oh.
We good?
Stamets made the Hail Mary play with the injection thing. There's a mirror copy of him now, apparently.
I like to think there's a mirror copy of everyone.
Yeah.
Except for vampires. They're all mirrored individuals. Stay on target.
No, and then we had the Klingons. The albino Klingon guy got rejected by his peers, except for the one chick. Who,
they pull out on them planning something, and we don't know what that plan is just yet.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see her, she's fucking a human and prying information out of Harry Mudd in order to avoid beatings. In all honesty,
was that the same Klingon?
Yes.
She and the Harry Mudd chick were the same people.
The female Klingon on this ship is the same one, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that.
One female Klingon of importance in this series.
Okay,
So
so because it wasn't on mic, I need to just say it into it. Ben pointed out that so far we appear to have one female Klingon of importance and consequence. And to the best of my knowledge, that remains the case because I really can't think of... There are definitely other female Klingons. They definitely show a sexually dimorphic species and diverse species.
Well,
I don't think any other female Klingons get speaking lines. That's...
Yeah, but I don't think we've only had 3. She's one of only 3 significant Klingons at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So she's one of 3 at this point. I don't think that's a horrible ratio, but yeah.
Okay. The real question is, once a second female Klingon is introduced,
Did they pass the Bechdel test?
yeah, does it pass the Bechdel test? Do the 2 female Klingons talk about something other than A, hating each other, or B, wanting to fuck the same guy? If they do anything past that, it passes the Bechdel test. And a reminder for everyone out there, just because it passes the Bechdel test does not mean it's a good movie, does not mean it's pro-feminist. It just means it passed the Bechdel test.
But I mean, we'll see if and when they do introduce another female Klingon character.
Like there are absolutely more females in Klingon society, but in terms of like, because she's like a leader, she's got responsibilities and shit to do. I honestly can't think of another one, and that's actually now bothering me.
In Star Trek in general, or
No,
just in the show?
no. In Discovery,
Okay,
no.
all right,
Because
yeah.
DS9 had the 2 Klingon sisters.
They're
There's
also in Next Generation.
yeah. My point being though, like
Yeah,
there
but
are
are
plenty of
'cause I was gonna
badass
say-
Klingon women.
I was gonna say, if you were saying in Star Trek in general, I have a
No.
problem with that assessment. But
You know, this is a conversation that like I don't think has to be had because it's been had a million times, but I just want to say it because I still find it enjoyable and refreshing. Trek has always been super good to every member of its cast. Star Trek does not like painting one-dimensional villains. It does not like making boring encounters. They want you to root for bad guys. They want you to see things you like, so they always write great characters.
yeah,
Except for Crusher. I mean, Wesley. Dr. Crusher is fine. We all know Dr. Crusher is fine.
I never had a thing for her. I know a lot of people do. I never had a thing for Dr. Crusher. I don't get it. And I generally have a thing for redheads, but like, I don't know. She just never. Doc Crusher does not float my boat. I'm sorry.
You know,
That's just-
I'm just gonna throw this out there as a theory. You probably just aren't into single moms, which is a thing. It is a thing. No, kids scare some dudes off.
I mean, well, no, I mean, like, I already had that vibe before her son was even like established as a character. She's just not my type for whatever reason. One reason or another. I mean, she's a decent looking woman. She's just not my type. But
The
I don't know why-
only way that could have been a more 1950s statement is if you had said a handsome woman. Oh, you know, I'm feeling we should boldly go.
okay, all right.
We're circling the drain. We're talking about someone who's not even alive continuity wise yet.
All right, let's go. I don't know why, but there's something about the way he said "live long and prosper" rubs me the wrong way there.
Really, I like the Sarek. I think he's a
No, not Sarek, the other guy.
Oh,
I don't know. It just sounded un-Vulcan. I don't know. I can't even.
you know,
Sarcastic Vulcan salute.
Hold on.
God, Vulcan looks awesome.
Vulcan looks good. That ship, not so much, but Vulcan
Really,
itself looks pretty good.
I actually like that ship. It looks more utilitarian than what you usually see out of the Vulcans. Usually, it's more sweeps and curves. I like it. It's different. I like seeing new things. Sue me.
They say disco, yes.
Yep.
Short for Discovery, but it still looks weird.
Ba-da!
They said the thing! They said the thing! I'm sure people are like, oh my God, they said the thing!
I mean, like, it is important to note the Enterprise exists.
Oh,
it's in
I'm
service.
Aware. I'm aware it is.
Gotta love guns that don't have recoil. Yeah, we'll just put the butt plate to my cheek. That's not gonna bounce back.
All right, yeah, no, that right there is another major. They shouldn't have holodeck technology this fucking early. They really shouldn't.
Well, I don't think it's a hollow deck. I think they have a training room that has a couple projectors. I think they have a static.
It's a hollow suite. Same thing. That technology shouldn't exist yet.
It's advanced laser tag.
I mean, yeah. I'd argue that's not even advanced laser tag. That's kind of just laser tag.
Weapons even look like laser tag weapons.
One of the rare moments that I'm in agreement with Lorca, lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
Yeah.
Captain don't need to know how to shoot. Captain needs to know how to delegate. Best shooter needs to be in an active role.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you thought that live long and prosper was a little off.
Yeah. All right, now I'm going to say, based on what I've seen in Star Trek, mostly in DS9 though, this guy's existence makes a lot of goddamn sense.
Logic extremists. Remember when we had the conversation
Yeah.
about Vulcan culture and about the logic extremists? I had to bite my tongue so hard because I knew it came up immediately.
Yeah. No, because like there's that episode of DS9, the Take Me Out to the Holosuite thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy gets away with that in Starfleet. You crewed your ship
Entirely with Vulcans.
and
Not
you
a
are-
single other species.
You are seriously the most racist motherfucker in all of Starfleet history who's ever been on screen.
What
Like,
the fuck? What the fuck did he
seriously.
do on Vulcan before that to have enough Vulcans pitching behind him to be like, nah, he gets to do this? Like, what admiral is in his fucking pocket?
You know, I once saw a guy online who watched that episode and thought that episode meant that Starfleet was racist against Vulcans because they made all the Vulcans be on one ship.
There's an argument to be made for that, but that person is flabbergastingly wrong. I want to be clear. That's an argument that can be made and can even like find supporting cases for. They're wrong.
Like if the captain didn't behave the way he does, and they didn't show that he had a history of that going all the way back to the academy.
Yeah. Like if it
it's
weren't for the
pretty
fact that
clear.
Cisco had dealt with his bullshit before,
Yeah.
like. No, I think lore-wise, this is one of the best episodes. This is actually the episode I've had to bite my tongue over the hardest, just because of other conversations we've had.
Right.
Yeah, it's not my favorite episode, but I do think it's very strong. Oh, I actually didn't notice the first time I watched this that she's bleeding green in that crossover there. Because that was very clearly the disco shirt and a green pool.
Okay. All right. So it's like a psychic thing with Sarah. Okay.
Yeah, remember how you got mad at me because I said there was an episode that basically takes place in a mind meld?
Okay.
I'll say this much. Vulcans always look comfortable.
Well, it's part of their shtick. They're designed to look like.
That is logical as shit, though.
Yeah.
I think everyone can relate with Michael in that moment.
All right. I'm not sure about the casting of Amanda here, but I mean that's not a major thing though.
Well, I'm sorry, Winona Ryder's expensive. That's always reassuring when the space doctor says, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or does it seem like every Vulcan ritual either only happens once every 7 years or is rare and frowned upon? It's either pon far or disappointment. And I'm willing to argue pon far is disappointing most of the time.
So they're Catholics?
You know what the funny thing is? This Vulcan is like exceptionally polite for a Vulcan, and it still comes across as dickish to human sensibilities. Like, this guy's doing great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vulcans in general have a somewhat racist attitude of we are better than everybody else because of logic.
No, to be clear, I wouldn't necessarily say racist. Definitely elitist. Absolutely. But they don't seem to actually, like, be against anybody who's on par with them, especially because they still view the Romulans as part of the fold in a lot of ways.
They're lost children who've,
Lost children versus disavowed children. There's a big a lost child you're looking for and hoping comes home. The other one you booted the fuck out.
Because like even Spock when he's on Romulus is it's like it's not that it's cool that the Romulans want to learn like part of their legacy or whatever. It's the Romulans are want to learn to do things the right way. It's that kind of attitude to it.
Well, okay, forgive me for taking a bit of liberty, but I always interpreted that as they're looking to broaden their horizons, which is always a net gain. Yeah. I simply view that as an expression of the love of gathering knowledge and experience. Like Spock's just always struck me as a for the hell of it guy. Case in point, why is he the only Vulcan to say no to the Science Commission? Because fuck it. I mean, I understand, like, he was pissed for other reasons at them and, like, racism against him for being half human.
There's a subtlety to it, and I can see how other people don't pick up on that vibe, but I think there is... That vibe is there underneath
I think there's absolutely an elitist tone.
It's inherent to their culture.
Well, because, like, even when you get a Vulcan that, like, genuinely, like, seems to like people, like, T'Pol after the first season of Enterprise... Yeah. Like, she's still very dickish, but it's always like, I don't know why this offends you. Like, always adamant, I'm not trying to offend, but I don't get why it does. And Stamets, even when being helpful, couldn't just explain that's going to blow up. Has to be condescending and, well, what happens? I really hope that this cast has a similar relationship to what TNG did. Because me sitting here and watching this, the amount of joy I get out of the smallest things in this, I hope they're all just laughing in between takes as hard as I am. I really do.
Okay,
Thoughts?
Or don't come back at all?
Have you ever heard Lorca speak in the defense of any of his people like that?
Yeah,
He sent his own chief of security to deal with the tardigrade before they knew what it was, when all they knew is that it eats Klingons.
Yeah. Oh, no, he clearly has some sort of, like, overarching plan for her or something. That she's important to him for a reason, but...
I wish I could say I saw it the first time through, but it went over my head. Now it feels painful that I didn't see it, because that's a what the fuck moment. Just a little bit. It was barely a eugenics crime. Barely.
Yeah.
You starting to get the cowboy vibes?
I can see a little more where you're getting it, but
it's fine if you don't feel he's a cowboy. I
Yeah.
feel it's an update of a lot of cowboy tropes for space. I feel he's like, honestly, I feel if like this had been made, say, 20 years ago, you could have put a John Wayne or a Clint Eastwood in this role, and it would have been fine. Although I don't know if Wayne would have signed on for something like this.
You're talking about the Hollywood idealization.
That's always reassuring instructions from an engineer, not a doctor.
Yeah.
Taking bets for how long they follow that instruction. You know, really gotta give it up to Sarek's family for acknowledging the difference between race and culture and recognizing the importance of culture. You know, I just thought about this. Hope is an emotional response. Sarek hoped.
Yeah. Yeah, the more that now, when it started out and it was just kind of like she was a student, that was okay. Now that we're getting more into no, she was raised like a family member, now it's rubbing me more wrong way.
Really? I feel it very weird if they were just like cold, unemotional fosters, given that it's Sarek and like he genuinely seems to enjoy humans.
Yeah. Well, no, but like
and not in a Vulcan way. Like Sarek seems to genuinely enjoy the confusing nature of humans.
Well,
he seems to like us.
It raises questions about other aspects of things, namely Spock, right? This is someone Spock never mentioned. Well, admittedly, he never mentions his half-brother, but although that's kind of a problem with that movie. But
what about in the cartoon where his time-traveling cousin and it's just him but older? You know, that raises a point.
What?
After the whole lights thing on Cardassia, did Picard get some time off?
One would assume.
One would, but I don't remember it ever being depicted.
It's not, but they depict that sort of thing with other characters, so I think it would be consistent to assume, because if they do it with like.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know my golden rule in film and TV: show don't tell. But it's a case of like now I'm just curious because I don't remember being told even.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safe assumption. I will stand by that, but kind of weird. Locker room talk. Fuck yeah. And nerds think they're immune to sports movie tropes. Credit, they at least believe Spock will be smart.
Yeah.
Sarek is a shockingly good dad. Between this and literally going across the galaxy on nothing but the hope of getting his son back in search for Spock, like, he's a good dad.
Yeah.
Little weird, bit of a dick, but he's a good dad. Thank God it was one button.
Well, the ship was in distress. I imagine it automatically just brings that up when it.
Yeah, no, I would hope it's on
situation.
multiple screens. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, you know, that's going to be a little panel that you got to smash the glass on for a depress switch. Like,
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. He's perfectly fine.
you know, I'm of the opinion there's nothing wrong with sleeping with a gun under your pillow. You're only fucked if it's loaded. Kudos to the actors. I
well,
feel
yeah.
pain in both of their eyes. Like that, they sell it.
Part of me expected him to like grab her and like kill her right there and then and there to prevent her from taking the ship away.
Well, I mean, you also have to remember, that is his ex.
Well, yeah, but like I could see him that being that over the edge, though. Is what I'm saying.
She was so prepared to never put on a uniform again, and she's already going to be back in the gold bars. Like, god damn it. Like, that is one thing that I don't like. Like, that to me feels like tonal whiplash to the character and makes Burnham feel a little inconsistent.
I wonder if it's a kind of a reaction on her part here at the finding out that her believing she was a failure this whole time really wasn't actually the case. So it's kind of a subconscious reaction of, damn right I deserve this shit.
There's more that we need to learn about Burnham. She made some decisions based on that lie that
Yeah.
affect a lot of the rest of this. He's a good dad.
It just makes me wonder, we had Star Trek V, now this, how many other fucking kids does Sarah have that we don't know about?
Vulcans are very long-lived, and Panfar's what, every 7 years?
Well, she clearly proves
okay.
it. That's not even relevant. She proves it because she's adopted.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Spock's mom is his second human wife?
First, as far as I know. He's had 2 that we know about.
Because one of my favorite things that I've seen pointed out by basic math is the lifespan of Spock compared to the rest of the original Star Trek crew. And it's legitimately equivalent to the same amount of time that the average dog will be alive in a human's lifespan. So, like, you buy a golden retriever. Like, Kirk is basically a golden retriever to Spock. Yeah. You're my best friend this century. I'm gonna have a new best friend eventually.
Well, does that accommodate for the fact that humans live longer in this century? McCoy lived to 140.
And to my understanding, Vulcans can hit 300, no issue.
2. They a little over 200 is about as high as they go.
Okay, it's most likely based off of average lifespan in the year of our Lord, whatever the fuck it was made. But
yeah.
I want their shoes. I know it's dumb, but like I don't even like trainers. Those just look comfortable. It's actually a lesson I think more adults need to learn. After a certain point, it ain't about pleasing your parents. It's about keeping yourself going. Illogical. I really feel Michael works as a great self-insert because the things she goes through I feel are really identifiable to anybody who's ever felt kicked in the teeth. Like obviously none of us have to deal with a Vulcan stepdad, but like I think we can all relate to, not meeting expectations and that being crushing at one point or another.
Let's see.
Oh, I was wrong. Prominent female.
All right, now that guy's outfit looks more Klingon.
And that's what they start looking more like. Like I said, like it didn't stay with that weird bony look at the start.
That's still not, accurate, but at least it looks vaguely like they belong to the same culture.
See, my thought is we're simply seeing a timeline where certain cultural norms got established.
It's the same
and
timeline.
one style
you can't use
over.
that excuse. They've clearly stated this is the same timeline, so you can't use that excuse.
I'd like to point out during the original series, Klingons actually had a fairly wide range of appearance. I mean,
not
it doesn't
really.
it doesn't
I
fix
mean-
anything perfectly, but I'm just saying there's an argument to be made. Whether or not it's a good argument, debatable, but I think there's an argument to be made.
I will simply say the argument, the idea of the different houses having different looks.
I think we might have missed a thing. Saru just told him that the admiral was captured, and the only person who knew that he's unfit for command
is the admiral.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And he
a
answered
little
the door to
coincidence
Saru.
with a gun in his.
But
yeah,
that said, Saru's threat ganglia never fired.
true.
Honestly, a lot happened.
I will say right now, like I believe I told you this before. I think I said it on camera that I'm pretty sure there's a spoiler I know about the captain from the show.
Would you like to just say it and I just won't react? I'm just curious what you think
Well,
it is.
if you're gonna,
I can turn the other way, so I literally can't react to it.
I thought I heard at the end at some point that basically he turns out to be, by the end of the season, he turns out to be the villain, that he's a traitor or something. The implication you just hinted at kind of points in that direction. Oh, look, his problem went away because the enemy happened to pick her up or whatever. But
with literally zero confirmation or denial in this statement, I think you're on a logical course there. I think you have evidence to support your claim.
So,
see, I'm excited because I know the next episode, and it is my favorite of the first season. It's probably my favorite of the entire series.
come on, there you go.
So, other than Lorca being a little extra shady now, what else do you think is going? How do you feel about Sarek owning these decisions? Like, how do you feel about this wrinkle added to Sarek's canon?
It's fairly consistent tonally with Sarek as a character. It's not the first time in canon that he's indicated. There's been indications of what his emotions are underneath the veil of logic. Because contrary to what a lot, there's always that
It's not that Vulcans don't feel emotions; they absolutely do.
They just suppress them.
Yeah,
they have them. They're there. They just suppress them, and they are able
you
to
can
not
you
act
can
on
feel
them.
any which way you want, but how you act on them is what's important.
Yeah.
Like a Vulcan culture to me really seems to emphasize personal responsibility above all. Like that's really what it's always come down to me. Like, why do they achieve scientific excellence? Because individual achievement leads to collective gain. It is logical. Like they're oddly altruistic through selfish actions. Like I find the Vulcans fascinating, just in general.
I don't know if I would interpret it that way, but
Okay, just within the grander context of Trek as a whole, what obligation did the Vulcans have to us when we figured out light speed technology to make sure that we didn't just blast ourselves into oblivion immediately with it?
I would say the obligation is more along the lines of making sure we didn't blast them into oblivion with it. They make that point in Enterprise.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Vulcan's fairly far away, though.
In the terms of scale of the Star Trek universe, no. Vulcan is actually rather close.
Well, they're the closest
like
governing body to us, isn't
like-
it? And then isn't it
No.
the Andorians after that?
Well, the Vulcans and the Andorians are both in our neighborhood. They're both like 2 sectors away.
Yeah.
And
My
the
point.
Federation is like, God, going based off the map, I use...
Well, it's one of those things. Like at the start of
there's
Enterprise,
dozens of sectors. It's like close to like 30 sectors wide or long or something like that. And yeah, Vulcan and Andor are both like 1 sector over, 1 or 2 sectors over.
and wasn't it one of those things like in the Enterprise era specifically? Wasn't it like the Vulcans had like warp 6 or 7, and like the best we were doing with like our own
Warp 5.
home built was?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was even after upgrade. I could have sworn when they launched
The
it was
warp-
warp 2.
The Enterprise is the first warp 5 capable ship. It is just barely able to hit warp 5.
Okay, see again. This is me misremembering. It's because
Now,
it's capable
in the-
of, but they don't hit it often.
You might be remembering in one of the flashback episodes where they talk about when how Archer got the assigned eventual command of Enterprise.
That is,
They're
as you're
testing
saying
the
that,
warp-
I'm thinking I've got images in my head of Archer on a very clearly terrestrial military base arguing with Vulcans about their merits as spacefarers.
Yeah. Well, no, like in that, he and the other test pilot he works with are trying to break the warp 2 barrier. So that
That's
might be
probably no.
from.
That is probably what it is. Just because the second you put it in there, all of a sudden I had a flood of images. That's like, yeah, that's definitely what I'm remembering.
Yeah, that's them breaking the warp 2 barrier. But
Yeah, God, it's been like 6-7 years since I watched that series. I should watch it again.
there was something I was going to say, and then we went off on a tangent. It had to do with Enterprise. Oh God, what was it?
Why don't we just keep stirring the pot till it comes back in?
Just keep going. Maybe it'll pop in. We'll see.
Thoughts on Ash Tyler?
Not much at this point. I mean, they clearly seem to be. It looks like they might be trying to go with a romance thing between him and Michael. Maybe.
I would say that's a fair guess. I mean, there was a lot of tension at that table. Especially
So-
at the end. Like, the start of the episode was just sort of weird and a framing device,
Well-
but the end of that episode...
Yeah. Well, at the beginning, the whole thing where her roommate is trying, very much looked like she was trying to set them up.
Okay. Again, because next episode is my favorite, and this doesn't give anything away. Tilly wants everybody to get... Like, Tilly's a good redhead. She knows what's important in life. She wants everybody to be happy, and I support her in her goals.
Okay, let's see what that means next time. But
I am genuinely excited for the next episode. You have no idea. You have no idea.
is it a thirsty episode?
Not really.
All right, that was the vibe I was getting from.
No, it's very funny, and not because it was written to be a comedy, but because the base premise for the episode, the adventure of next week, is just hilarious by itself. The tropes of it lend itself
All
to
right,
being
well,
funny.
we'll see next time. But let's see. Anything else for this episode? Yeah, it's the whole thing with her and Sarek. It is weird. I mean, like again, a lot of from a pure storytelling standpoint, it's good stuff. The character dynamics and all that, and it works. It's just.
Oh, I literally
If it were
can't help
anybody
but
but
feel.
Sarek-
I can't help but feel for everybody on screen.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah. Like also like it feels weird that like in his dying moments the person he's reaching out to is her rather than Spock. Like they explain it with the weird Katra link thing or whatever, but I also don't know how I feel about Katras having healing properties.
They haven't gotten into it, and they're not going to for a while, but there's going to be several throwaways to it. Spock's busy right now. He's not even hanging out in Starfleet right now. He's
Well,
he's busy being a teenage Vulcan, even though I'm pretty sure Vulcans aren't teenagers.
But like the Katras having healing powers and kind of brought her back from the brink of death thing kind of reminds me of the like Khan's magical blood in Star Trek, the Abrams second Star Trek movie.
Well, wasn't that
it's
kind
of weird?
I don't know. I kind of feel like that's how again, I've brought it up repeatedly this episode, but the search for Spock. When they finally get to that Vulcan temple at the end, and Sarek has to talk to the elders and offer up a piece of himself,
That's not what happens. They get to the temple and they have Spock with body but no mind, Spock's mind in McCoy's head, and the priest puts his mind back in his body.
I could have sworn Sarek was a bridging link in that and critically important to the whole thing. Because like the elder like goes to Sarek about like, do we even attempt this? Because like this could just kill everybody.
It's Sarek's kid. That's the point. That's why he's asking.
Well, it's Sarek's kid. Okay, well you have a
That's
body.
like asking. It's like asking a spouse, do we go through this medical procedure?
Right, but like they're also asking McCoy because it's like, well, you could die, and
Yeah.
the other side of that coin is a lifeless shell functionally.
Yeah, he asked Sarah. She asked Sarah, like, your son this could kill your son and the human.
Because there's
Do you want me to go through with it?
There's a whole speech about it's unlikely to work. It is illogical to even attempt. Why do you wish for me to do this? And he has a touching remark about the love of my son, and if that is not logical, blah blah blah. Like it.
Yeah, well, no, but there's no threat to Sarek in that scenario. It's simply a matter of, no, he's the one that they have to ask because he's his next of kin, and they're expressing the concern that there's a risk here. Do you want to put both, Spock's life and McCoy's life, in the balance in order to maybe get your son back? That's how I remember the scene.
I don't think it's anything stated, and I think it's me assuming a couple things.
Oh.
I'm not sure either one of us is even wrong. Like, I'm not sure either one of us is fully remembering the scene accurate. I'm sure I am making mistakes in my remembrance of it regardless.
Well, because,
I think we're both missing something here, and it's probably something stupid and obvious.
But, just that weird thing of the Katra healing power thing is just kind of odd. Because
I don't know. See, the mind meld to me is psychic bullshit regardless, so it's just a case of anything that you latch on to that, it's fine. You're already playing in made-up waters. It's okay. Have fun with it.
That's basically psychic healing is basically what they're talking about, and that's a completely new concept. It makes me wonder about certain things we've seen in other cases where, like, does having the piece of the Katra have a healing effect, or is it the act of giving the Katra? Because if having it provides a healing effect,
then Michael Burnham should be Wolverine.
Well, yeah. Or there's a couple other cases where some people shouldn't have been in as much harm as they otherwise were because they had a Katra in their head. But
okay, just based on the conversation we're having, then I would have to assume it's the giving of.
Yeah.
Just based on the evidence provided that the ritual in and of itself has some sort of transitive healing property.
Yeah. No, but that also makes me wonder why, if Spock knew he was dying and McCoy had his sorry. Search for Spock. I'm with you. No, Wrath of Khan.
Fair.
In Wrath of Khan, Spock is in the radiation.
I actually rewatched this one last week, so I'm prepared for Wrath of Khan.
He's already given McCoy his Katra, right? He knows he's dying. Why the hell did he? And Katra's had the ability to bring somebody back from actual brain death. Why the hell didn't he tell them all? Yeah, McCoy's got a thing in his head that can bring me back to like heal me. Like,
because he's a scientist, not a necromancer, Jim.
Then why did he put the Katra in his head in the first place?
Because he needed a doctor, not a scientist, Jim.
The best thing I can think of him is that maybe because in order to do the mind meld or whatever, another Vulcan would have had to have done the transfer because McCoy can't do it because he's not a Vulcan. And
plus, if I remember correctly, Spock's mind was a very ill fit in Bones' head, if I recall part of the subplot of that movie.
That's the other thing, get it out of this. Or just the fact that Spock, because he's dying, he's just not capable of thinking, and he would be the only one in the room at the time who could
because it also has
the
to be
mind meld.
Yeah, it has to be someone that like he's infinitely familiar with. Like it has to be someone he's close to, doesn't it?
No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at
why he didn't just tell them when he did it.
Right. Why he didn't say put the Katra back in my head and that has healing powers? The answer to that would be because a Vulcan would have to perform the mind meld, and he's in no physical or mental shape to actually do it himself.
Well, I would also like to point out that Burnham pointed out that the procedure, just in and of itself, is rare and frowned upon. And if it's frowned upon in Vulcan society, folks tend to just not bring it up.
So is what Spock did with McCoy, though. He already crossed that Rubicon when he put his own copy of his Katra in McCoy's head.
First of all, good SAT word. I'm proud of you. Second of all, good point.
But I guess the other question would be: are there any other Vulcan members of that crew at that point? No, it's Star Trek 2. What's her name?
Kirstie Alley's not until 3, I thought.
No, that character is. No, Kirstie Alley plays that character in 2, It's the other woman who plays the same character in 3. They're played by different actresses.
Okay, my bad.
Then
my
there's
bad.
the third. Then there's the second Vulcan female character who shows up in Star Trek 6, who's a completely different character. So it gets confusing with the Vulcan women in the movies.
I mean, it doesn't help that they all have the same goddamn haircut. Like, that is one thing that is deeply illogical to me.
Yeah.
How hard is it to identify a Vulcan you need in a crowd?
Yeah, no, but so there is at least one other Vulcan on that ship. I guess you can make the argument that he knew she didn't have the ability to perform that kind of mind meld or whatever. But yeah, this whole thing with
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Vulcan character in those movies was also depicted as very young, very fresh-faced. It may have been a thing that she simply lacked the experience.
Well, that's
not
what I'm
necessarily
saying.
that she wouldn't know, but just a case of like, yeah, that would kill her. Because I always remember anytime like Spock did a mind meld, that was tremendously taxing on him. That was not a quick party trick. That was work.
Well, it depends. If he's like when in Star Trek 6 when he's probing what's her name, the Vulcan lieutenant. God,
I'm sorry, I
Kim
don't know
Cattrall's
the name.
character. I can remember the name of the actress, but I can't remember the character.
I have the face in my head. I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking
but he
about.
does that in that moment. That's a forced mind probe. He's basically
this was when they were trying to
her.
figure out who was sabotaging shit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So that's strenuous on both of them because it's a forced thing. He's mentally forcing himself on her. That's a very traumatic thing. When it's a passive thing, it's like it requires a degree of concentration and practice.
Yeah,
But,
no, they never show it as just being simple. Like there's a wind up. You almost never see them using it in any sort of a combat or fight unless it's against someone who's like establishedly weak-minded.
The only times I can see it as being something where like somebody's health is at risk is when they're pulling the thing out of McCoy's head. Though oddly enough, not putting it in McCoy's head. And in Enterprise, when they have to get, God damn it. I'm forgetting the name. Crap.
Give me a bad characterization. I might remember it.
The father of all Vulcan logic.
I just remember the Vulcans that forsake logic gave to Paul the mental STD. That's
'Cause
all I
in Enterprise-
remember from that arc.
In Enterprise, God, I can't remember the bloody name.
Tuvok?
The father of Vulcan logic.
No,
a
it's not
historical
Tuvok. No, I'm trying to go through
yeah.
the Vulcan names I know.
God. Oh, I am. This is like forgetting Zephram Cochrane or Kalis. Jesus.
I mean, how could anyone forget Zephram
I
Cochrane?
keep wanting to go back to Sarek, but it's not obviously not Sarek. The Katra of.
I love how we have access to the
Bloody
internet
hell.
and we're not using it, and I don't feel that this bit gets better by us learning.
Yeah, no, I can't. But yeah, in that situation when they have to pull that Katra out of Archer's head, there's a risk there because he's human. But oh my God, this is killing me.
The Schadenfreude is palpable.
Oh my God. Oh.
That joy you get when you know your friend's in pain, but you just don't care.
Yeah. Oh. The funny thing is, the minute we turn the camera off, it's gonna pop right in my head. Just watch.
Well, then, should we give an outro?
Let's do that. Yes.
Well, I've been Nick. We're Informed and Confused. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. We've got Twitter. We do things. You've got a awesome new Ruby music reaction. The RE0 series is going strong right now. We enjoy you guys joining us for this new series and hope you guys like it.
Mm-hmm. And I've been Alan because you said stuff out of order, so now it just sounds disjointed. But, yep. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.